Welcome back, students. This is your Dean, CountXevious. Today, we're going to take a look into the Nightfall Cup Meta Simplified graph. We're going to develop the graph together, so by the end of this video, you will definitely have a graph that's going to help you understand this meta a little bit better. As usual, we are going to put Pokemon into boxes. Basically, in the box, the topmost Pokemon beats the other two that's below it, and classify them based on their types or their functions. So, three main categories that we're going to cover. First are going to be your ice types, your grass types, and your mud boys. In your ice types, you're going to have Lapras, Frostlass, Castform, and Articuno. Yes, Articuno is a flyer, but I think it functions more as an ice type Pokemon in this meta. In your grass, you're going to have Venusaur and grass holes, Gloom, and Shadow Victreebel. In your mud boys, you're going to have the king of mud boys, Swampert, and then followed by your Whiscash. So, how these three typings relate with each other is that the ice typings have a good matchup or beat the grass types. The grass types beat the mud boys, and the mud boys have iffy matchups against the ice types, and vice versa. Once we've established this, we need to complete the circle of life. We need to find a Pokemon that does well against all of these types, and that's going to be your Galarian Stunfisk. Yes, the Razor Leafers do have a decent matchup against Galarian Stunfisk, but in most cases, Galarian Stunfisk will come out on top. Venusaur, on the other hand, can beat Galarian Stunfisk if the G-Fisk does not land a bait. So once we have this circle, the circle of life, rectangle of life. Once we have this rectangle of life, we can look at Pokemons or Mons that can beat the top Mon of this rectangle, and that these are going to be your counter users. Of course, the king of counter user is going to be your Medicham, followed by Machamp, Blaziken, and also Scrafty. So that said, we need to look at a Pokemon that's going to do well against all these Pokemon that's in this huge pile. And this, according to me, in this meta is going to be a very important Pokemon, and that's going to be a Gallade. Preferably you run a Shadow Gallade so that you can pick up the Victreebel matchup. Gallade can do well against a Stunfisk. Of course, it's a playable matchup for Stunfisk, but I think Gallade is still definitely going to be one of the Mons that you might see a lot in this meta. So now that you have a Mon like Gallade that's going to do, let's say, it's going to be a very good safe swap into the Mons that I have described in the previous green circle, we need to look at Mons that definitely wall or do very well against a Gallade. These are going to be your Flyers and your Charmers. Of course, people don't like to use Charm and Razor Leaf in Silph, but if the meta asks us to, we will have to adapt. We now have Gallade and the counters to Gallade. What's interesting to also note, and why I think the most meta-centric Mon or the most important Mon in this meta is going to be Galarian Stunfisk, is because Galarian Stunfisk beats the counters of a Gallade. So in a way, if you pair Gallade and Galarian Stunfisk together, it could be a good combination that might work well for you. That said, there are certain exceptions. For example, in the Flyers, the arrow does point that the Charmers beat the Flyers, but this is going to be dependent on, for example, in the case of Gliscor, it's going to be a bait-dependent matchup. In the case of Golbat, it's the Charmers don't stand a chance. Another exception is the matchup that I've already pointed out in the white arrow, is that the Galarian Stunfisk beats the Flyers, but Gliscor can beat Galarian Stunfisk straight Earthquake in the one-shot scenario. So I guess these are details that we will definitely tend to cover in our Meta Simplified videos, where we go into a deep dive later on. For now, this is going to be an overall meta. Hope this helps. Don't hesitate to take a picture or a screenshot and share it with friends. Now that you're this long into the video, please do help us out by liking, sharing, and subscribing. If you have any extra questions, please drop it down in the comment section below. We are always ready to interact with our community, and community is very important for us. I would also like to take this opportunity to pitch our podcast that we do with Silph Legends and also amazing Silph Elites. We are doing it this month with Raging Taz, Tati, and Matthew Brewer. Please don't forget to tune in. It happens this Friday at 18:30 CEST. See you there.